Yahweh ben Yahweh. Before we get started, family, let's go ahead and open up in prayer, the Tefillah, which is the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Ensure that we're facing the east. You should have a compass on your phone. And let's get right into it. Tefillah, Abenu Sabashamayim, Yikadar Shemeakar, Tavomaku Teakar, Yer Seri Zonkar, Kivashamayim Kane Baadat, Alakan Kenu, Tain Lanu Hayom, Uslaklanu, Akartaenu, Kimo Chaso King, Gamananu, Lakotein Lanu, Veal Tefienu, Lade Nisayom, Kakal Seinu, Minhara, Kilaka, Hamamlaha, Begivara, Beteferet, Leolame, Olamin, Sila. Praise Yahweh. All right, family. So I want to get back into a class that I wasn't ready to finish, but it's really been playing on my heart to finish it here with you all. We probably won't get through it because it's a lot of information, but we'll get back with it. Praise Yahweh. So I want to start off with standard. Standard in Hebrew is nes, which is nun semek, which is a flag, also sail. By implication, a flagstaff, generally a signal, a token, banner, or nasas, which is nun semek semek, which is to gleam from afar and be conspicuous as a signal, to lift up as an ensign. An ensign is two words put together in conjunction, and then sign. It's to wane, which is to be sick. And is a prefix occurring originally in loanwords from French, and it is productive from French and productive in English on this model, forming actions with general senses of causing a person or thing to be, which is to exist or to take place or to take occurrence, right? Which is the condition or the state of named by stem, which is more specifically to confine in or place on. For instance, like enslave, they put us in slavery, right? That been placed on us and confined us. To entrust, I place my trust in you, right? Now it's also to restrict, which is in the manner of named by the stem. Again, to restrict in the manner named by the stem. Now, who is the stem? We're going to get to that. Praise Yahweh. Now, typically with the additional sense on all sides, completely entwined or encircled. Again, that means to confine or place, right? So, stem in the underlining form is often consisting of a root plus an affixation, which is Latin, which is the tendry to stretch, the root, which is 10. Now, 10 in the Hebrew alphabet is Yud, and Yud represents the spirituality of all of the alphabets because Yud literally makes every single alphabet consonant in Hebrew. Yud is omnipresent for Yud, and it is in all the Hebrew alphabets, which is encircled, entwined, as well as enclosed. Praise Yahweh. Now, sail is the float of the Portuguese man of war, which is so funny because in Exodus 15:3, it says that the Lord Yahweh is a man of war. So the Lord Yahweh is his name. Now, the token that comes from this is a thing serving as a visible or tangible representation of a fact, quality, feeling. It is a badge or favor worn to indicate allegiance to a particular person or party. For instance, Hebrews, we usually wear something that's going to say Yahweh's name on it, to show forth our connection or our servitude to our Father, right? So it's the quality, feeling, or a badge or favor worn to indicate allegiance to a particular person or party, which is a member of a minority group, including and otherwise of the homogeneousness or the set of people in order to give the appearance of diversity and the attributiveness done for the sake of appearance or as a symbolic gesture. Now, Yahweh ben Yahweh came to his people in 1979, or 5,983 FC from creation, at the age of 44. Now, 4 represents foundation. So now we had 2 4s, so that represents the spiritual and the earthly foundation, as well as keeping the scriptures of Acts chapter 7, verse 23. And when he was a full 40 years old, it came into his heart to visit his brethren, the children of Israel. Now, full means to replete and be abundantly fed or filled and complete. So when he came to his brethren, he was already complete and abundant with knowledge of how to build the nation of Yahweh and successfully be able to give wealth to his disciples, which he's done. When Yahweh ben Yahweh formed the nation of Yahweh, he took a state of poverty, meaning he didn't own anything. And everything he amassed, he left it to his followers. So for 7 years, the first 7 years of the nation, he actually was able to amass over $250 million, not only of lucrative money, but as well as businesses, hotels, schools, shops, grocery stores, apartment complexes, right? All of these things which he left in his followers' names. That's wonderful. I think that's magnificent because that has never been done by anybody. This again shows forth Yahweh ben Yahweh's love for his people, right? Now, the 4th consonant in Hebrew is Deleth, which is symbolic representing the door as well as poor man. Now, Yehuda, we are poor without Yahweh, which we see because Yahweh has to help guide the nation because we cannot guide ourselves. If we could guide ourselves, we would have been done it. But many men have tried in the past, but those men were either corrupted or they was teaching lies, right? So it was all a business ordeal for them. While for Yahweh, this is more of a reconciliation between relationships between him and his people and him. Praise Yahweh, right? So we are poor without Yahweh, and that represents the poor man, and Yahweh being the door, opening up the windows of salvation to his people, right? As well as allowing us to flee from a dark mindset into the light. Praise Yahweh. So on that note, Yahweh told Abraham a prophecy in Genesis chapter 15, verse 13 through verse 14, as well as in chapter Act, verse 7 and 6. And what these two things connect is it's a prophecy of the children of Abraham being by-dwellers or sojourners in a strange land that is not theirs. Now, when you look at the word stranger, right, in the Greek, it tells you that stranger in Acts chapter 7, verse 6 means a by-dweller or an alien resident. So that means, again, alien is something that is not native to this land. We are not native to this land. Praise Yahweh. Okay. So we are here because of prophecy, and we are here because of the breaking of the law of Yahweh. Okay. So when we broke the law, this caused us to be put in such horrific course of life that here we are now, and we are in desperate need of salvation as well as deliverance. So Yahweh told Abraham that he would appear unto us after 400 years of slavery in a far-off land that we knew not, but it would resemble Sodom and Egypt, which was revealed to us in Revelation chapter 11, verse 8. Now, Yahweh comes to re-educate us and to become that counselor, right, that we desperately need. In Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6, it tells us how Yahweh will come to his people. Well, it says again, for unto us a child is born, a son is given, right? Unto us, he should be the wonderful counselor, right? The mighty God, the everlasting Father, as well as the Prince of Peace. A people that was walking in darkness, we desperately needed the great light in Isaiah chapter 9, verse 2, because we were not keeping the law, statute, judgments, and commandments because we had forgotten the law, which got us into captivity in Isaiah chapter 5, verse 13, as well as in Hosea chapter 4, verse 6, which both details that we have forgotten the law. So Yahweh has come to re-educate us and to reconcile us into coming back into this law so that we can stand again as a nation of people who was destined to rule this world forever, right? So we are the only people not walking in our true names. We are walking in slave names, right? We are walking in our slave owners' names. So that is proven in Isaiah chapter 65, verse 15, right? And as we begin to walk more in this truth, then we are able to align ourselves to where we can receive our true names back. But again, that comes with studying to show yourself approved, which is revealed unto us in Revelation chapter 2, verse 17. That he that hath an ear, let him hear, and he shall receive in a stone that no man knoweth his name. Praise Yahweh, right? Now, the ensign is a flag or a standard, an emblem or a badge. Now, the Philistines do not want us to walk according to the law. So they ignore all conditions of the law, which are not his own. And then he teaches in his schools the philosophy of him and fashions everyone that attends his school to be made in the same into the same existence as his own, right? Which then causes us to wane, which is to diminish in power, to decline, and to become decreased in strength, importance, reputation, as well as influence. Praise Yahweh. Now, the citizens of America being made doubtful to embrace Yahweh being Yahweh because of the government's successful tactics of making people dim, as well as following certain trends of, sexualities and ideologies and loosening the grip and worldly influences due to poor leadership, causing for tensions to rise with China, Iran, North Korea, and Russia. World War III is here at the beginning stages, with the U.S. borders being open wide during the Biden administration, allowing for quote unquote terrorist cells to infiltrate, creating the situation for Operation King Alfred, as well as a martial law working its way into existence, and a play from potential stock marketing crashes and riots from these immigrants and all of this stuff, or ICE, from laws being created that is to destroy some people's rights or to cripple or even help render certain situations which will cause these things to take place. Now, the watch is a guard or the man or the post as well as the prison. And in the figurative, it's the deposit of also observing something of the usage. And in an abstract way, it's the thoughts of a part of concrete realities of specific objects or actual instances, which is difficult to understand, showing forth abstruseness of an example. Now, the guard is to keep under close watch in order to prevent escape, misconduct, and to keep under control or restraint as a matter of caution or prudence. The man is the figure of authority, including members of government, which could imply powers of people being taken away by the government, as well as the post, which is to bring public notice or declaration of a documentation, which then embodies and displays an announcement or proclamation, possibly something like that Project 2025. Now, we see that Project 2025, when it was released and everybody was speculating about it, that no one really considered that ICE would be so huge in making certain actions come to pass of disturbance today as it is today. They have already killed 2 people, that is reported, Now, who knows how many unreported, but, until these things surface, we'll be learning more as the days are, coming. But we are seeing that this watch guard, right, these ICE agents are being used to bring about some harsh conditions, right? Now, the strong is the fastening of up or seizing something, right? It's the cure, it's the help, the repair, the fortifier, the obstinates, the binding or restraint of something, or the conqueror. It is aiding and amending, it is catching and cleaving, and it is confirming the existence of the constant constraints of living in this world or living in America. Now, the deposits is to deliver and leave an item or to put in place or set down. Now, they are putting in place new laws that they're trying to force past the Supreme Court justice system and all of that stuff in order to be able to get more power to do more things unto these so-called immigrants. But what people fail to realize is America is built upon immigration on stolen land anyway. So who are you to snatch people up? They hounding people because they speak a different language. And people say, well, because they messing up the economy and blah, 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 blah. But America was once the Native Americans, the Aztecs, and the Mayans' homeland, which was stolen and crippled by the European settlers. And then they was bringing over immigrants through the Statue of Liberty on Staten Island and all that stuff, where they were signing their names into the Book of Blasphemies, right, where the horse sitteth, to come in and make mass-produced lands of success for themselves. But now here we are in this stage of the game where now they want to set up these harsh restrictions on lands that was stolen, talking about, it's affecting the nation of America. Well, America is not its own nation. Every nation has a language they speak, names they have, right, a culture they have. America speaks English. That's from England. Americans have American names, which is English, right? So how can you say you are an American when there is no such thing on the native level of being an American? It's not. This is a business. This is a corporation. Because again, in China, they speak Chinese. They got Chinese names. French, they have French names. They speak French, right? America doesn't have that. So I find it kind of hypocritical on the harsh environments that they are constricting everyone to live, but they are based off of immigration themselves. It's kind of lost. It's kind of confusing. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Right? They set up, which means to rise in various applications of literacy, figurativeness, intensiveness, characterized as an increasing in intensity or degree, which is the causative actions as a cause of producing an outcome, often followed by actions of accomplishments, being clearer or confirmed or decree or dim. Dim means stupid. They want to keep people stupid. To endorse something of an enemy's enjoining themselves to prescribe a course of action with authority or emphasis of injunctions of judicial processes or orders requiring the persons or nations or a persons of nations to whom it is directed to do a particular act or to refrain from doing a particular act by a show of force of using intimidation tactics to bluff one out from proceeding in such a way. Now, the watchman is the hedge which they place about a defensive position of reinforcements. For ICE, they'll have backup from the military and all of these things, the riot police and all of that stuff if people want to get, fisticuffs. Again, so this is why instead of our people going down and protesting and putting yourselves in danger. What we need to do is come back into the law. What we need to do is practice the law. It's crazy to put yourself in adamant danger for a country that doesn't even want you. And it's crazy because we have a land, but we can only procure our land when we follow the laws, statutes, judgments, and commandments. So we need to go back into our law and study our law and then use practical application of our law, which is the Bible, right? The Bible is about us. It's not about no other people. And it's easily proven, right? When you look at Luke 23, verse 26, it tells you that Simon is a Cyrenian. Well, Simon, when you look up that definition in the Strong's Concordance, it tells you that it's Israelites. And a Cyrenian, it tells you that it is a region of Africa. When you look up Africa, it tells you African. So Simon, who was kinsman, as it says, to the Messiah, is of African descent, right? And when you look up African, it tells you Negro. And when it tells you Negro, it tells you of the black race. This is why we share the similarities of the curses of Deuteronomy 28, verse 15 through 68, because the Bible is talking about us. This is why our names was taken away in Isaiah 65:15. This is why they have come and they have made a confederacy against us when they raised a Confederate flag here as a symbolic representation of them doing it in Psalms chapter 83, 1 through 5, that hey, they have consulted together that they are confederate against us, and their plan was to take away our propensity of being a nation. How? Well, by making us forget our names, our land, and our language. If you can take away a person's memory and give them amnesia of their name, their language, their culture, their spiritual beliefs, as well as their identity, then I can control what this person will be, right? This is why we share that connection. And again, it is proven that when you look up in Luke 23, verse 26, Simon, it tells you that Simon is Israelites, and then the Cyrenian means of African descent, right? Again, and African descent goes back to Negro, and Negro goes back to black people. So again, this proves that the Israelites are black people, that the Messiah was a black man. This also proves that God himself is a black man because he is the blood father of the Hebrews. From Abraham, right? From Abraham to Seth, from Seth to Noah, to Shem, to Abraham, from Abraham to Isaac, to Yaakov, whose name was changed to Israel, to the 12 tribes of Israel. The Bible is about us. So instead of going out here and protesting about things or against our open enemies to try to help aid them, what we need to do is take a step back and worry about us. Worry about teaching our children the truth of who they are, right? Of who our Father is, Yahweh, right? Who our ancestors is, Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov, right? We need to go back and practice this law because no JC man, is coming to save anybody because, again, the letter J was created in 1524 by a Renaissance Italian-speaking man named Gian Trissano, who was the father of the letter J. And then that name, Jehovah, wasn't implemented into the Bible until another white man named William Tyndale put it into the King James Version, right, during the late 1500s. There is no J in Hebrew. Yahweh's name is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahweh ben Yahweh, which means Yahweh's son Yahweh and Yahweh builder of the house, Yahweh. So on that note, we're going to pause it right here. I did drop a short showing the proof of Simon and the Cyrenian definitions is on my page. Take a look at it. If you don't got nothing to do, you can say hi and what's up. Go ahead and take a look and go ahead and share that short of Simon being Israel and the Cyrenian meaning of African descent. It's on my page. It's 54 seconds. You can be right here for 25 minutes, for 60 seconds, or however long you was here. Then I ask you to do us all a favor and share that short, because it's going to awaken our people's eyes that we are Israel, right? And this will help aid us to return back to Yahweh so that we can begin our restoration proceedings and our reconciliation with our Father Yahweh, because we need to become one. We need to be that unit. We need to become that nation again. And we can only do that with following the true light, Yahweh ben Yahweh, as well as returning to our land, returning to our wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and becoming awakened again so that we can have salvation. I love you, family. I see some people said, happy Black History Month. Stumbled in here. Are you a Black Hebrew Israelite? All day, every day. All day, every day. And again, the Bible proves that the Hebrews are Black people. Again, for anyone who have doubts, go ahead and check out my short on my YouTube page. It's the last one I've done. It shows, again, Simon being Israel and a Cyrenian being African. So again, it proves conclusively that the Israelites are of African Black descent. It's going to be on that YouTube short. I literally just dropped it yesterday. Go take a look. I love y'all, family. Have a good day. Praise Yahweh.